you. Welcome to a very special all-American edition of On the Verge. I'm your host, Josh Topolsky, and you are an auto mechanic from Ohio. We've got a great show tonight, an all-American, as I mentioned, show because it is, or at least close to, July 4th. And we're just getting right into the good stuff. We're trimming the fat, and then we're going to take that fat and use it to grill delicious hamburgers to celebrate the 4th of July. We've got Mo Rocca, who will be in studio with us in a little bit, talking about food and news and other things. The sexual, exciting Ross Miller. Ross Miller sat down with Jon Benjamin, who's the voice of Archer, and Bob from Bob's Burgers. Again, burgers, 4th of July, America. But first, Nathan Cykiert, our the lovely, bushy-haired reporter who we love to send to the streets of New York, is going to go out, will be out on the streets of New York talking to real Americans and several foreigners, I imagine, because we have a lot of tourists in New York, about issues facing Americans right now, and probably issues facing other people. So we're going to go check out his segment, and when we come back, I'll be talking to Mo Rocca, so stick around.
It's been just over a month since Mayor Bloomberg and Citibike have unveiled the Citibike bike sharing program.
I am thrilled to declare that as of this moment, Citibike is officially launched.
It's been met with a lot of criticism and praise, but we want to know how the people of New York feel. Sir, you just got off a Citibike. How was it?
That's cool. I like it. It's tough when you're wearing a suit sometimes, right? And if it's really hot.
Excuse me, sir. You have a giant tennis racket. What do you think about Citibikes? You have a giant spoon. How do you feel about the Citibikes?
About the Citibikes?
Yeah.
I think the Citibikes are awesome, actually.
Yeah?
Parking sucks, traffic sucks, but the bike's in, out, and then you don't even got to worry about it. You can drop it off somewhere and call it a day.
You just rode a Citibike for the first time.
Yep,
How was it?
I rode it all of about 15 feet because I just got my key.
Oh, so you're an annual
I wanted
member.
to test it.
Do you wear a helmet?
No.
You do not wear a helmet.
I should wear a helmet.
Yeah,
the only thing to start carrying the helmet around is a pain. So.
Yeah, but you know what else is a pain is
Yeah, no, I hear
cracked
you.
head. So.
Yeah.
Now, do you wear a helmet with it?
No, but I'm gonna get one now.
Do you use Citibikes at all?
No, but I wouldn't wear a helmet either.
No? What is it? It's not cool to wear a helmet? It's the hair. You don't want to mess up the hair? Those two lovely folks came prepared. Have a safe trip. So you said you've been riding for a while. You have a bike helmet. Are you pretty up to date on the New York City bike laws?
I think so.
Would you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Yeah, will you hold this for a second?
No problem.
Okay. How fun and freeing is it to ride without any hands on the steering wheel? It's kind of like you're in an indie movie.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's also very much illegal. All cyclists must have at least one hand on the handlebar at all times.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. Oh, you hold this for a second?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, let's see here. How many earphones is a cyclist allowed to wear while riding a bicycle?
I didn't know you were allowed to.
The correct answer is...
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Well, you're allowed to wear one. Yeah. Do you realize you're only allowed to have one earphone in? It's New York State law. Excuse me, sir. Sorry, pardon me. Sir, how do you feel about the Citibikes? No? Okay, you're only allowed to have one earphone in by law. It's against the law what you're doing. People, am I right? So our first attempt at obtaining a Citibike was unsuccessul. Okay, English, get a bike. 24-hour one pass, and I'm an adult. Ah, shit, I hit minor. Okay, I'm gonna dip this bad boy. Just wanna get on the bike. Sir, if you wait, I'm getting a bike here. Now it has gone back to 0. Nope. Nothing. Yes, I want to pass. Yes, I'm an adult. Dip. Oh, that was it. Wait, it just worked that quickly. Your ride code expires in 5 minutes. We gotta go. 3, 3, 2, 1, 3. Ah, there we go. I finally have a Citibike, and I am absolutely terrified now to ride it. Also, I just realized now I have this bike in one of the busiest places in New York. It's been many years since I've ridden a bike, and I've forgotten a little bit. Excuse me, sorry, sir. First time on a Citibike. Okay, I'm on the bike. Yep, bike lane's over here. Yeah, but this one's so much closer to the cars. Okay, I'm just gonna ride to the end of the street. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. I'm riding my first city bike in New York City. I'm riding my first city bike, guys. First time on a city bike. Thanks. Thank you. That was absolutely terrifying and exhilarating. I did it. Okay, I'm gonna walk it back. Ugh. When I first came out here, I expected to find people hated Citi Bike, that they found them to be a nuisance to litter the streets. Excuse me, sorry, first time walking back a Citi Bike. Excuse me, sorry. Oh, sorry. I was surprised. People loved them. People used them to get to work. They found it convenient. They found that it was a great way for them to get exercise. My experience on a Citi Bike has taught me that there's no better way to experience this than surrounded by 8 million people who will support you through your first steps. I love them, and they love me.
Yes, thank you. Totally unnecessary. Thank you. And joining me now, the lovely, the talented, the delightful Mo Rocca. Mo, how are you?
I'm great.
First of all, I want to ask you something. Don't even finish that.
Yeah.
Don't even finish telling me how you are. Your name, Mo. Mo is short for something?
Yeah, my father was a diplomat in Africa when I was born in the late...
This is true. What you're saying is true
Yep,
now.
in the late 60s, and he was the ambassador to Mozambique.
And so it's just, Mo is just...
No, I'm making that up. I just wanted to see how you'd react to that. I just wanted to see. No, my mother was...
you have to admit, I did catch that you were making it up right at the beginning.
You did, but
then you lied further.
But then you really, you doubled back because you wanted to be sensitive.
I thought once I asked and then you said no, I wouldn't imagine that you were a liar, that you would lie to my face.
Right. No, I know. But and you were actually really thoughtful about it.
Yeah.
Because I think you also thought the whole thing was loaded. I dragged Africa into it. It got very sensitive.
You got a little bit sensitive.
Right.
But your name is is not short for something.
No. What happened is my mother was actually, she was a very sort of bohemian and kind of a hippie, and I was born.
True?
It is, and so she was living in the Mojave Desert when she.
Come on.
Okay. It's
you don't want to tell me.
I'm ashamed.
Moving along. So you're an Emmy and Peabody Award winner. You like this pivot?
Sure. I mean, I've been on shows that have won those. Yes, I did.
Do you have an Emmy?
I actually have an Emmy. I have a
Yes,
I have a statue. It's a statuette, I think.
What does that mean?
Well, no, they're statuettes. I mean, a statue.
Oh, it has to be large.
Yeah, a statue.
They don't give you like an 8 foot tall Emmy.
They don't.
That's just not just an approximation of what you're getting.
Exactly. You know, unless you steal the thing that's in front of the Academy, which is a life-sized one.
Which is also cheap, right? It's just a prop.
You have to buy. You have to. Well, that's cheap.
You have to buy the Emmy.
You actually have to buy it.
That's actually very common for awards, apparently. We won some Webbies, and I think that you have to buy the Webbies as well. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We love the Webbies. Continue to award us prizes. Okay. So anyhow, you're an Emmy, supposedly an Emmy Award winner.
I am.
But you've done a lot of stuff in news, comedy. You've been all over. You're doing food stuff now.
Yeah.
But you did children's shows.
Right.
You did a show called Wishbone, which I had never seen. But there are several youngsters here in the room who were telling me about how beloved this show is for kids, and it's about a dog that sort of. What is the dog? Can you tell me about Wishbone?
Okay, it's a dog, a Jack Russell Terrier, who in his fantasy life becomes the hero of classic novels in order to familiarize kids between the ages of 6 and 11 with the themes of those books, so that when they encounter them later on, they'll find them less daunting.
Right. What kind of book?
So it would be Don Quixote. I did.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he was Sancho Panza.
Wow.
It's a great show, and anyone under the age of 30 loves it and knows it.
Okay.
And not anyone, but most people. I mean, not those kids that
but
don't
I'm 26.
All right. Oh, then you're one of the people. I don't have a TV.
Yeah.
Right.
I hate TV. I live in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So,
So I don't have.
They take your TV away when you cross the Brooklyn. You cross the Williamsburg Bridge. There's a guy waiting there.
It's terrible.
And he hands you a copy of Catcher in the Rye.
Exactly. You don't have a TV. You must be a reader.
And he rolls up the cuffs of your jeans.
Yeah.
Anyhow, go on.
Well, what was I saying? No, so
I
the
have no
dog.
idea.
No, so he would be Sancho Panza,
Oh, right.
or he was in I did Treasure Island, and he was suddenly became a character in Treasure Island. The kid, Jim, what's his name? Who's the kid in Treasure Island?
Anybody know? Oh,
God.
in the book.
Yeah.
Let's say Jim. That sounds wrong. But
Okay, I know. All right. Okay.
Tony. I think it's Tony.
Tony. Yes, exactly. Robert Louis Stevenson's big character. Tony.
You went from Wishbone to Perfect 10,
Yes.
the porn magazine. It's not a porn. It's not really a porn magazine.
Well, that's generally you go from kids' TV to pornography.
No, but Perfect 10 is. Do you guys know what Perfect 10 is? It's a magazine. It was a magazine from I think the 90s.
Yeah.
It's the modern answer to Playboy, which was a lot of fake breasts at the time.
Perfect 10 was a magazine for connoisseurs. It was the only adult men's magazine that featured models without breast implants.
Right, and that was their thing.
Yeah.
They're a 10 naturally.
Exactly.
And you were the what was
I
your
was a
role
consulting editor of Perfect 10, and I was it was an unusual way that I got there, but the guy who ran it was a totally fascinating guy named Norm Zeta, who made a lot of money playing international poker tournaments and was kind of like a mathematical genius. He was very nice, very generous, highly neurotic, and he had a house in the Hollywood Hills with all these beautiful women there. He didn't even have sex with all these women that were in the house. He was a very neurotic guy, but liked having all these beautiful women around him, and they were, for the most part, the staff of the magazine. But he...
So the magazine was staffed by beautiful women in addition to having beautiful women in the pages of it.
And it was very hard to find models without breast implants. So a lot of the women came from Eastern Europe because when the Iron Curtain fell, it took a while for breast implants to pour in, I guess. And so
you think that would have been right at the start?
No, it's interesting because when the Iron Curtain came down, there was a lot of beautiful women without breast implants, and there was also a clown glut. I remember this because there were a lot of state-supported circuses, and there were all these clowns that couldn't find work. Because this is totally true. Yes, that has nothing to do with the story, but I do remember that.
The clowns were out of work because the state was no longer.
Yeah, because it was no longer like a Hungarian state circus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so anyway, so he had this magazine, and it wasn't. He didn't oppose breast implants for ideological reasons. He just hated the way they looked and the way they felt.
It's an aesthetic.
Yes,
an aesthetic.
But I was the magazine's grammarian basically because he was a real stickler about poor grammar, and there was very little text in the magazine, but he hired me for $150 an hour to pore over the copy and make sure that there were no syntax, grammar, punctuation errors.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about Daily Show.
Sure.
Tell me about how did you get involved in the Daily Show? And at what point did news become a thing that was important to you?
Well, I was always like a news junkie. And so I started going around the country visiting the homes and grave sites of obscure presidents. I got very interested in seeing the weird, off the beaten path, marginalized historic sites. Like all the presidents between Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt, the guys with the facial hair, a couple of them were knocked off. Like, like Grover Cleveland, he wasn't knocked off, but like or James Garfield or Benjamin Harrison. And I found that when I went to their sites, it wasn't like Hyde Park or Monticello, where when you walk in, you're already in awe, but that the people had to really sell it to you because you might be there to use the bathroom. And I met like a woman named Wanda Wheeler in Indianapolis at the Benjamin Harrison House who volunteered there full-time for 22 years. And by the end of the tour she gave you, she was so committed to him, you wanted to sandblast Mount Rushmore and replace it with
you
Benjamin
were like,
Harrison.
why isn't this guy getting his due? What number president is he?
He's 23, because he's part of the Grover Cleveland sandwich. Grover Cleveland's 22-24.
Famous Grover Cleveland sandwich,
and, well, no, because remember non-consecutive terms. And
sure, I think about that all the time. Remember, in casual conversation, you remember how Grover Cleveland had a non-consecutive presidential terms?
Anyway, so I started meeting some really interesting characters there. And at the Warren Harding house in Marion, Ohio, I met a guy that was so obsessed with Florence Harding, the first lady, that he dressed up as her to give tours of the house in this small Ohio town. And it wasn't like he was, I mean, I think people thought it was eccentric.
Were you doing this solo? You were just like, I'm going to go check out these places. I've got some free time.
Yeah, no, I was. I thought, I had this this itch to do this. So I went and I did that, and I collected some great stories. And so then somebody said, you should go on The Daily Show and do these as pieces.
Yeah.
So I went there.
And then that's how it started.
Yeah.
That has morphed, though, from doing sort of comedy news. You've done real news as well. I mean, you've sort of...
I would never be interested in going on the cable net, on the news, on the 3 cable nets and doing punditry. I mean, I ran out of opinions. I got sick of my own opinions.
You no longer have opinions.
I'm done with it.
You're like, whatever. What do you think? I can go either way.
But doing like something, you know, my main gig is on CBS Sunday Morning, and doing like a 7-minute piece there on, and this was actually felt almost like a Daily Show piece on right before the 2012 election. I went up to see the Chester Alan Arthur birthplace, because when he was president in the 1880s, there was a movement of people that said he was actually born in Canada. So there were birthers then.
Interesting.
And
this is really back to your roots. This is right.
Yeah,
in line
it
with
is
your
actually.
history.
And on both sides of the border, you found Canadians going, Chester Alan Arthur was the first American Canadian president.
Yeah.
Like, and then the people in Vermont.
Oh, they were like owning it. The Canadians are like, listen, you don't know this.
And they're like, this is where he was born.
The secret history of America has a Canadian president.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the Vermonters, to hear Vermonters get really upset about this was just really funny.
Yeah.
So
what number was he?
He is 21 because Garfield is 20, and then he gets killed.
Wow. It's upsetting.
Yeah.
Poor Garfield.
Yeah. Not the cat.
Not the cat is fine. Though he has high cholesterol from the lasagna.
Lasagna.
Very dangerous. You got to watch your.
They killed James Garfield with poison lasagna.
Yeah, they're like, okay. So now, cooking. You have an interest in food and cooking. I don't know if you have an interest in cooking necessarily. You're going to tell me in a second. Hold on, don't answer that.
Yeah.
But you're doing a show. It's called My Grandmother's Ravioli.
Mm-hmm.
Explain My Grandmother's Ravioli.
Okay. Well, so my grandmother.
This is another lie. I can.
No. It's true, actually.
Go on.
My grandmother was a very good cook, and she made really great ravioli. And when we were little, we would show up at her apartment, and like 10 minutes before it was time to eat, and wolf the food down, and then kind of take off. And anyway, so this show is really about guilt abatement, because I never learned how to cook, and I still don't really know.
You don't really cook.
No. So I thought I want to go and learn how to cook from grandmothers and grandfathers across the country.
I feel like grandparents would be less concerned with the health factor of their food than modern parents might be.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense that like this recipe requires 6 sticks of butter.
Totally.
And that's no problem whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Are there I mean the ravioli I would imagine that you had it couldn't be that healthy, right?
Her ravioli was okay. It had spinach inside. No, but like Millie's chicken salad had a whole lot of mayonnaise, and Mary's pierogi had lots of butter. I'm just trying to think of our different grandparents. And Gaetano only eats what he shoots and kills. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a 92-year-old hunter.
Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg.
Is
that's his thing. He'll only
eat what he kills.
Eat what he kills.
Yeah, and that's Gaetano does that too. He's 92 years old. He took me out shooting, and he also said that the big problem, and it was in this episode with this guy. He's a real badass. Is that today's kids are so attached to their smartphone that if their plane went down, they wouldn't know how to survive.
If their plane crashed.
If it crashes in the Andes, we'll go there.
And they live.
Yeah,
which is very rare.
He says that they're probably, and I said, well, what if they have cell phone coverage in the Andes?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, exactly. Then they could look up like how to forage or something.
Yeah, or just call the police and say, hey, can you come and get me?
Well, right, and he was really bothered by that.
Where are the Andes? He didn't like the concept?
He didn't like the scenario that I was painting. He insisted that when the plane goes down in the Andes, that your cell phone breaks. It just, there's no way. If you live, but your cell phone breaks.
Maybe if it was in the overhead compartment and that got destroyed.
Well, right. Wait, if it's an overhead compartment, and you're alive, it's likely to be fine.
I don't know either. I'm confused about the whole concept of a plane crashing
anyway,
and anybody surviving. But you know, Gaetano, is that his name?
Gaetano.
Let's
he
go
would
with
eat other people.
His. Oh, sure. I mean, my thought was, well, you'd obviously eat the people,
right?
Because they're there.
But I think once they're dead,
you'd have to hunt them.
But you have to. I don't know. It's like eating a lobster.
No,
that's
you
already
don't.
Dead.
You have to kill them first.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah. And so I can't remember what he said. I do know that he said that this is like a really good part to eat.
Yeah.
That thing.
I feel like there's a lot of fat in that.
Right.
That part. Is that good?
I think so. I mean, it was savory.
Okay, I think we should just stop here on cannibalism. Where and when, if I want to see this show, the episode about cannibalism and others.
My Grandmother's Ravioli is on Cooking Channel on Wednesday nights. And it is not the Cooking Channel. They're real sticklers about it.
There's not two,
yeah.
is there? Is there a the Cooking Channel and Cooking Channel?
No, there isn't. It's just called Cooking Channel. But I think it's I always feel like a caveman when I'm saying where it is because I have a new show on Cooking Channel.
Yeah, you should just stick the in there. Are they like contractually you can't say the?
They said don't say that, and they're gonna have. It's like ending a sentence in a preposition at one point. Like, you just have to do it. Like, we have to get over that rule. Right. It has to be the Cooking Channel.
Right. I agree. So, what time on the Cooking Channel will I be able to see this? What day, what time?
It's on Wednesday.
Wednesday. What channel if I'm a Time Warner subscriber, which I am, do you know what channel the Cooking Channel is on my...
It's on Cooking Channel.
Do you know the number?
It is if in New York City.
Is it on the Cooking Channel?
No, don't go to the Cooking Channel because you'll never find this show.
Right.
Or any others.
Right.
I think actually Paula Deen is now on the Cooking Channel. So they put her.
Oh, that's the racist Cooking Channel. Is that a good place to end? I think it is. Mo, thank you so much.
Really great.
And next up, Ross Miller sits down with Jon Benjamin, the star of Archer and Bob's Burgers, to see what life is like as a voice actor. Check it out.
You're a writer, you're a comedian, you're a voice actor. What do you see yourself first and foremost?
A Jew.
You may not recognize Jon Benjamin's face, but you almost certainly know his voice. From home movies, Dr. Katz, Archer, he played a can of vegetables in Wet Hot American Summer. We had a chance to sit down with the prolific voice actor just as he was wrapping up this past season of Bob's Burgers.
How often do you recognize, and is it by sight or sound?
It's by smell, basically.
By smell, okay.
Yeah, you'd get that a lot. Yeah.
That's definitely a Jon Benjamin.
Yeah. I'm not thronged by people, but it's a daily
Do you ever
issue.
Go to like a crowded burger place and it's like, I'm just gonna very quietly tell you my order so no one can overhear this?
Not many people have recognized me just by voice. A couple times though.
Hello?
Sterling, listen very...
What? Voicemail. You know what to do.
What? We're sorry. Damn it!
God damn it.
What?
Wait for it.
Leave it!
How many people ask you to do voicemails?
Very frequently. Yeah.
How often do you actually do those voicemails?
Very infrequently. There's a lot of legwork in getting the voicemail up on a phone.
So they'll stop and ask you, can you do the voicemail, and then like go through the menu while you wait.
Yes, there was a kid who followed me while I was walking to the YMCA for 3 blocks while he was setting it up without asking me. Like, he decided,
you just noticed he was
I'm going to have you do my voicemail. So he walked with me and he was like, hold on, like I just gotta get it. Oh my God, that's great, walking with me. Oh shit, I just gotta set it up. Okay, so and I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm on my way to the gym. I can't do it. No, hold on. Press 2, doing that for like wouldn't go away. Till I walked in the Y. And he wasn't a member.
That was the escape route.
He wouldn't, he didn't have his card.
I'm sorry, just...
Can't get in. Not doing your voicemail. It's over in the entryway.
Despite his numerous projects, Jon Benjamin has never actually ventured into what many argue is the next big boon for voice actors.
Video game roles. You're one of the few voice actors who have not even touched those. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been asked. And I'm a player. I've played them.
What do you play?
Well, I play a lot less than I used to. But my son now plays, so he's pulling me back in. So we've been playing Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, really?
Yes. Which is not a great game for a 10-year-old to play, but there are moments.
He's learning about morality.
Yes, and about the West.
Yeah.
And about rape. I didn't know that about Red Dead Redemption. Did you know that?
No, I haven't played it actually.
There is apparently a rape.
Okay.
Like a prompt. Like,
do
you want to rape her?
Press X to rape.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what he said. I can't find it.
Okay.
So I'm not sure whether, either way, that's bad.
Yes.
If he made it up, that's really bad, right? Like right. So even the fact that that's in his lexicon is crazy. When he gets there, he'll know. He'll know.
So this is rape.
Yes. Oh dear.
Jon Benjamin is currently in the midst of 2 hit shows, Bob's Burgers on Fox and Archer on FX, with 2 fundamentally different ways of recording dialogue.
The Archer sessions are very efficient and Sometimes very quick, like about an hour and a half usually.
For a full episode?
For a full episode. So they do an episode in a day. I'm in the studio with headphones. Everybody knows what headphones are, right? Yeah. So
are you, at that moment, are you in a booth alone, or are there other people with you?
I'm in a booth alone, and there's an engineer outside, doing nothing.
Is that, I mean, so how often do you interact with your cast members then when you're actually recording? Are they on the telephone as well?
No, they don't. In Archer, they record everybody's part separately.
Okay.
So occasionally I will bump into a cast member, but most of them live in LA. I live in New York. I think Jessica Walters, who plays my mother, lives in New York, so I saw her a couple times.
How does that compare to Bob's Burgers?
Well, Bob's Burgers is done with everybody usually together, so it's much more unruly and much more funky, the way it smells. Yeah.
So how much ad-libbing can you do on that show? How much is improv?
Well, that's encouraged to do a lot of ad-libbing. And it's not that Adam Reed doesn't encourage it, it's just sort of not called for. But in Bob's Burgers, we'll do a lot of improvisation.
When you are doing the different roles, how do you differentiate the voice?
Well, with the shows I'm presently doing, not much difference. Though I did suggest, which was, I think, quickly shot down by Adam Reed, like an effete accent for the spy, which
what would that sound like?
I think I can't remember. I mean, he might have the tape, but you know, I was sort of doing this or something. You know, like doing a voice, like maybe right, it's a spy, right? I don't know, but he was like, no, like don't stop. Like if I wanted that, I would get somebody way better at doing that accent than you.
I had to ask, you know, you go by Jon Benjamin mostly. You're also H. Jon Benjamin, the Henry. When did the H go silent?
At birth.
At birth. You just stopped using it for your.
I was not told about the H for a long time, and then it was sprung on me, like I was adopted. Like son, we have something to tell you. Your name is John, but it's not just John. There's an H in front of it.
So why was?
And I was like, what? What?
So why was it picked then? If like it was never like to be used.
It's not Henry though.
It's not Henry.
No, that's a Wikipedia. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to let them fix.
I'm just going to assume it's Humdinger then.
It's not Humdinger. No, that would be crazy.
I mean,
what is a Humdinger?
I have no idea. It's just one of those words you hear like shenanigans.
It's a blowjob, right? In the 20s, that's what they would call it. I'll have a Humdinger.
So the H is going to be intentionally just a mystery.
Yes, I'd keep it that way. But the only reason I had the H was Laura Silverman, who was on Dr. Katz, filled out my credit.
Okay.
And she did it just to make fun of me.
Ultimately, though, Jon Benjamin is a comedian, and even when interviewing him, you're never quite sure if he's being serious or if you're just part of one of his really big, elaborate jokes.
My name is actually H. Jon Benjamin, and my parents do. There is a name attached to the H. It's not just a letter.
But you just like the mystery. You like to keep people.
Good. Well, that was good stuff. And unfortunately for you, that's our show. I want to thank Mo Rocca, Jon Benjamin, Nathan Cykiert, Ross Miller, and of course you, the viewer. We'll be back next week. And until then, there is no until then.